Welcome to this special edition of Just Candid series at Chitkara University. We have a violinist and an HR professional with us, somebody who's done the nation proud, somebody who's an artist par excellence, who has linked music with leadership. How she is doing human development, social development, and contributing to upliftment of minds through music. Let's talk to Madam Sunita Bhuyan. Welcome to Chitkara University, ma'am. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me to your wonderful institution. And I'm happy today after your event that just got over.
That event was very much fabulous. The kind of energy you got on the stage and the kind of talk with your mother. Is it something which is related to her blessings or you do often? Or what? Could you just tell me your equation with your mother related to your shows?
Well, it was actually a shorter than normal chat. Usually, my talks with my mother is very long, and like most mother daughters, after we talk for a very long time, we also fight. But the ritual, well, it's everything put together. It is good luck. It's also taking the blessings of your guru,
Right.
and it's definitely become a ritual. When I perform anywhere or do a workshop, as you know, I do concerts as well as workshops, I always call her from the place of performance.
Right.
I could have done the call from the room also, but I either will do it during the sound check. And whether I'm doing a workshop for the children in Dharavi slums in Mumbai or something in a concert hall in London or New York, I try to call her.
Right.
And I usually do. And she immediately knows, even though she's now ailing, she's gotten the first parts of dementia, but she doesn't forget to say all the best.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. That all the best from her
Yes.
makes the difference, and you just feel the excitement as it's your first show, and you get onto stage with that excitement.
Absolutely, you just got it right.
Right. Wonderful. Now, you are one of the rare personalities globally. I would say the only personality in the world who has linked music to leadership, And how, let me ask you this way. When did this all happen? What excited you, or what was the trigger point that you thought of linking music? Because you're an HR professional, you have held very high positions in the corporate, and music is religion to you too. So when did this whole transformation happen?
Actually, more than a transformation, it's evolved. So music was a religion, so I was given the violin when I was 8 years old.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was forced into the violin. It's a very tough by my mother, of course. And then I thank her for that. And then, of course, music was part of our growing up life. And academics was equally important. Because that's the kind of progressive thought my mother's guru also had.
Right.
That, the children should have to have their education. Because he hadn't finished his education in those days.
Right.
So he imbibed that thought in my mother. And then as I finished my political science graduation, I knew it was not for me.
Right.
My brother was a topper, and I thought I would use his notes, but it didn't work. It's about your DNA, what you are going to align to. And then in an MBA, when I did in human resources, I found a lot of linkages of human development in the MBA HR course. And in my first ever assignment of teaching as an assistant professor, as a young teacher in an MBA school, I saw the power of knowledge. I was so young, but I was deputed to the management development cell where the people who were 40 years and officers, I had to go and do certain workshops with them on communication. And then I realized that one of the papers in my Master in Music had the concept of music therapy and science of music and the physics of it.
Right.
So that was an area that I thought it's going to be very helpful in learning, enabling learning. That was the first step. I used it. And then when I joined the corporate world, it was a progression. You did MBA, you've got to join a corporate world. You come to Bombay, and how do you fund your music?
Yeah.
Arts 25 years back wasn't as organized as now.
Yeah.
Now also it has challenges. And then in my first ever assignment in a KPO service during the outsourcing days, I used music as a learning tool. And by the time I was in my third proper job, I was globally heading the training of a large organization. I used music as a structured training tool for an intervention on leadership and change. So I'm just making it short. So this is how it evolved in the 15 years.
This is how in the last 15, 20
In
years?
the last 25 years for me, but in the corporate world, in the last 15 to 18 years, I used that. And then, of course, I left my full-time assignment. I couldn't work in one company and come to people like you all to share my concept. So I became a consultant to them. They were very kind. And I started doing interventions for students, universities, corporate houses.
You have mentioned in your talk that adaptation of modernity and tradition. Can you just share more about it? Because you mentioned that it depends on the phases of life, what phase you are in, and then either you adopt modernity or you go for tradition.
Yeah, more than the phase, the stage, and the situation, because I somehow feel the young generation has been brought up
Right.
by, and I blame it on schools and parenting. My son went through the same challenge. That all that is good and needed is traditional,
Right.
and all that is modern and new is trivial.
Right.
Or a Western influence. It's wrong, because tradition is about what? Being an expert in a subject.
Right.
Right? Tradition is about the deep depth of
The complete science of it.
of the culture. Our cultural festivals are based on the astronomical movement of the sun.
Right.
From the Sankranti to the New Year, it is all the elements.
And I think who would better understand than you is all your ragas are linked to the timing of the day.
Yes, it's so scientific. So a deep depth of knowledge is tradition. And if you don't have that domain knowledge, in the modern world, domain is king. In your business world, domain is king. So deep depth of a knowledge is traditional and also modern. Traditional is not conservatism. We are confusing conservatism, being orthodox,
with tradition.
With tradition. Please do not malign tradition.
That's a very, very, very good input.
So tradition is modern. When I use ragas, in the same way I can play jazz and Hollywood and Bollywood songs in the same notes.
Yeah.
Music mein to there koi tradition and new hai nahi, because 7 notes, whether you're singing a Bryan Adams, you went to the Bryan Adams concert, you're singing a Bryan Adams song or an Ed Sheeran or Arijit or Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan Sahab or Shreya Ghoshal, they're all singing the 7 notes. So is Bryan Adams modern? And is Lata Mangeshkar tradition?
No? Tradition, no. Can you just give one line on the Saregama-pa and link it?
हाँ, अभी तो हमने 2 घंटा करके आया. So Saregama-pa-dha-ni are the 7 notes of the Indian octave. Saregama-pa-dha-ni sa sa ni da pa ma ga re sa. In the Western world, it is do re mi fa sol la ti do ti la so fa mi re do, and all the music in the world
is based on these
Hollywood, Bollywood, rock, jazz. पूरे Haryanvi भी हमने किया. I didn't know the Haryanvi song.
But still it happened.
No, but I played the song because it's 7 notes.
Yeah.
I may not know the lyric.
The foundation is the same.
The foundation is the same. It's all the 7 notes. So these 7 notes can be created into sa re ga pa ma ga sa pa ma ga dil ki jo baatein jo dil ki hai dil mein tu rakhna piya. It can become a love song, Piyu Bole. It can be sa pa da ni sa ni da sa pa da ni sa ni da pa re.
Jazz.
पहेली है ये कैसी पहेली जिंदगानी, or can become gare 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 hey baby baby baby. It can become an Ed Sheeran song also. It's just the 7 notes, and the way like we think in our languages.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Business is about working and the right professionalism and the right quality of service. Right. Education is about the right transfer of knowledge. So it's the style that is different, but the basics of education is the same. You've got to have the right deep knowledge, you've got to share it, you've got to be inclusive, you've got to be disciplined.
Right.
Same with work culture.
Yeah.
You need to be professional.
I believe strongly on that note that inspiration will keep changing its goalposts, but the discipline got to be the same. It has to be there.
It has to be, and no matter, like institutions like yourself are so progressive.
Yeah.
You're trying to ensure that the holistic development of the student is happening.
Absolutely.
For him, not just to be job ready, but world ready. But tradition is important.
So, that's where I wanted to ask you, not only for Chitkara University students, but how does students globally strike a balance between tradition and modernity? You've answered a lot on this, but maybe a good fine tip on the top of our discussion.
I think tradition is your depth of your domain, who you are. Let's say that tradition is form. What we are is a body, our genes is science, right? We are structured in a particular way,
Right.
and we've got certain faculties and skills which we've inherited either from our ancestors or from our parents. And the values that we have from them,
Right.
right? That discipline and the values and the ethos that we learn as a family. That is tradition. So there's
Perfect.
science in it.
Perfect.
There is art in it. There is life in it. What is modern is the way you aesthetically interpret that for the need of the hour.
Right. It is need to need.
So my talent of being a musician, how can I take it to the corporate world?
Right.
Right? That's what I think was modernity. That's what I think is modernity. How can you tell a student of Indian classical music that, अरे classical music is inaccessible. 25 years you have to sing one rag. ऐसे बोलोगे तो बच्चे भाग जाते हैं, भाग जाएंगे. Yoga को you cannot make it so inaccessible. You've got to make it part of people's lives.
Right.
Only then can they benefit. So my mission is that children has to benefit from the art.
Right.
Hence, I have to make it accessible. And I have to take it to them. If I don't sing the Bollywood songs in the notes,
So that they can connect.
they connect. Learn the notes, learn the tradition. So modernity, I would think, is your values which you have learned in your early years or in your school. And the world that you are in now, you've got to align it. Modernity is not about wearing modern clothes and in the way of speaking. It is about aligning yourself and your body of knowledge to the need of the hour.
Exactly.
To the market if you're in a business. To the society if you're a social worker. To a family if you're wanting to marry into a family. You cannot stick to only your way of looking at things. You've got to align and merge with another.
Right.
That is modernity. Collaboration is modernity.
I think that requires a lot of working on the mind, more of a presence of mind kind of a scenario. And then you understand that what works for you and the society, that overall brings in harmony in your life and otherwise.
Absolutely. You can't have a cookie cutter fit with everything. Just because I grew up in a certain way in the family, I cannot think that my friends and my relationships will have the same way.
Exactly.
Same with the organization. I may have been a CEO in the past organization. I may have restructured and got profits to a large company, but I'm joining another one.
Yeah.
I would align my experience and use it to the need of this organization.
Yeah, and fit into the expectations in a very harmonious way.
And the market and the challenges, your VUCA environment.
Challenges, absolutely. Lot to talk with you, but there's something very interesting I will bring is that you have performed, you've been a state guest to almost every state in the country. You have performed in front of honorable prime ministers. And you mentioned that you've not performed in front of the president, but soon it should happen.
President of America, I haven't performed, yes.
Indian presence, yes?
Yes, of course.
Oh,
of
God,
course.
that's great. So the president of America, hopefully you get an invitation from Donald Trump soon. We pray. But how was the experience when you perform in front of such exalted personalities in their respective professions, especially, when they run a country or a state?
I'm not being complacent, but I want to say that it's the same music that we're doing on this. The stage is the temple. And when a state guest or a dignitary is there, you really feel good. But when the stage is such a temple, like today Vice Chancellor talked about the power of the stage, that when the stage is the temple. We think that this 15 minutes that I'm going to play, because usually with dignitaries and security, your program keeps changing, that's the important part. When you have a prime minister there, it really makes you feel good. But at that moment, you have to switch off from who's there.
Right.
You have to give your best. However, an anecdote that I have is that when I did my first performance I've performed 3 times before him for the Honorable Prime Minister a few years back, we had a photo session with him. And during the photo session, and we had high tea also. In the photo session, he said that I'm here for half an hour. And aap pajari? I said, I will play. But I was the third artist in the line. So his schedule was just for half an hour. But I just said that it'll be nice it'll be great to perform. It'll be nice if you hear me and go. Yeah. So then what happened was that 2 performances happened and half an hour was long past, And then I just walked onto the stage and the SPG got up to take the Prime Minister away. But he didn't get up. He kept his word. Yeah.
And he stayed back.
He stayed back for my full performance.
Wonderful. And you're talking about the current Prime Minister.
Yeah, Narendra Modi ji. So because that interaction that we had was a very casual interaction, so he committed to an artist. So that was a good experience. And so anyone who respects when someone's on stage and doesn't get up. Either you go before or you go after, but not when the person is on
Absolutely.
stage.
I think that ethic and that kind of respect is very, very appreciated by the artists. It touches the soul. And this is something very beautiful you said, the switching off thing. You know, you got to switch off.
You have to switch off.
Yes.
Otherwise, you won't give your best performance.
Yes.
Ab nervous ho jaoge and then you'll forget. And
Absolutely.
We have to switch off and we surrender to the craft.
Absolutely. Talking about students of today, we are sitting in an academic institution.
A wonderful one at that.
30,000 students, you know, where we are contributing to build their career, shape them, build them all sort of values we can. They're from one nest to another, from their home to our place, and then we shape them up. Mental health has gone to be a big challenge in the society. And how does music play a role? How would you direct them towards music?
Or the arts in general.
Yeah, or the arts in
Yeah,
general.
because everyone may not have an inclination. Very rarely do you find someone who doesn't like
That
music.
connect to creativity.
Yeah, however, some people are good in art, painting. Some are good in dance, some are good in percussion, some are good in singing, and some people write.
Right.
Of course, you'll not till you help youngsters pursue their hobbies, and that depends on the parents.
Right.
Now, you have to get them from their nest. If their nest is not conducive for them to learn outside of the nest,
Right.
you know, because education happens outside the classroom. If parents have only made them do their hobbies to win a competition,
Right.
then the children will never
So when you continuously challenge their imagination, things won't work.
expose them and let them choose what they like. You cannot tell your child that you have to play the piano or the violin or the drum. You have to give them options. Parents ko mehnat karne padenge.
Right.
You have to give them options. We are so good in getting options for our holidays, for our menus, but we've got to be very good in giving options to our children.
Yeah.
If you don't direct them and show them what the world has,
Yeah.
you force them to do what you have. That's not
Absolutely.
fair. And once they pick that up, don't make it a benchmark. Today's children are anyway very pressurized
Yeah,
with
pressurized,
benchmarks.
yeah.
You know, first aana hi hai. If you do that, you're again, you know, you're
just
challenging the child, not letting
Fobbing their creativity, imagination, their innocence.
the innocence. Now, the connect to music is that we are not encouraging that all of you need to make artists. Artists sab honge to fir businesses kaun chalayenge. But the gift of music is a gift for life, and the music will fuel learning faculties,
Right.
will give you endorphins and dopamine for you to
The good hormones.
the good hormones to regenerate your tired cells, will give you oxytocin, serotonin when you play in a group or you teach younger children to learn music. All these four happy hormones will keep your child and the students healthy in mind and body.
Yeah.
That's going to make them, you know, smart, brave, confident, give them more energy to tackle the difficult world.
Absolutely.
So you've got to make things easy for them to take on the world and enable. And I kid you not that, you see, music, art, sports develops better intellectual cells because it's scientific.
Right.
The brain, it's called cognitive preservation. Sound has an immediate impact.
There is a particular rhythm it understands. And that if you keep them on that rhythm, that is where then the happy life and
that happens, and
optimum level of performance from their individual.
really, and do not say that 3 months you can't sing because you've got exams. That's like the ultimate
Yeah.
disaster.
Continue singing, but just prepare for
Arey,
the-
half an hour you have to sing. Otherwise, from where will he get his healthy hormones?
Yeah.
You know, you're shutting the child in the room to only study, but then the hormones are not getting the cells are not getting regenerated.
Yeah.
Art, music, listening, writing, going out for a walk, spending time with the pets, gardening, cooking, all these are, even cooking and gardening are basic
Absolutely.
creative
absolutely.
engagements.
Personally experienced that, you know, and what you mentioned on stage today is something very, very important which you are mentioning about the science of the happy hormones, how to get in. And this is a mantra. It's a Punjabi mein they say it's a nuskha, you know, of getting things right and making them work in your favor in all aspects, career, health, and your passion.
Right. So professionally, it'll help you. So one is values, one is being able to use art to help you enable your professional journey.
Right.
Then last is that compassion and kindness
Yes.
and respect of the nature is
Right.
what we have to teach our
Right.
next generation.
You mentioned a lot good points about nature today, you know, that it works in silence.
Works in silence. And if our grandchildren don't have water to have a bath,
Yes.
So that's going to be very sad.
Yeah.
So we've got to teach them that, and compassion and care comes
Yeah.
only then our SDGs.
Absolutely.
सर्कुलर इकोनॉमी तभी होगा जब लाइफ सर्कुलर है, जिंदगी सर्कुलर होना होगा. I have to know how to take help from you.
Yeah.
You being an educationist, you have to take help from artists to
Yeah.
know how do you enable
Yeah.
artist aesthetics in students.
And then align
Yes,
for the good of the society and also for an individual.
absolutely.
Brilliant. Well, we could go long on this, but it's been such an honor to host you at Chitkara University. I hope these, golden nuggets from your end do help the society. But before we leave, any other point which you would like to mention and volunteer to speak upon before I request you to give a message on the camera?
Oh, before the message, what I would like to say is that keep up what the university is doing in the whole field of holistic education. That's very important, because you are not just wanting to create job-ready resources.
Yeah.
You will have to create world-ready resources.
Oh, brilliant. We are shaping characters which are world ready.
World-ready. Reason being, yes, your big fours have already come to the campus, right? You've got the school, and you also looking at how the raw material, mind me for using the word, is being actually conditioned and curated.
Right.
So once you get them here, the goal is obviously not just to place them in a big four or any of these big IT giants. The goal is that those people say that the best leaders we have come from Chitkara. Because leadership is way beyond placement and domain knowledge and skills and success in the function.
Yes.
Leadership is about working together. Hence compassion, hence aesthetics, hence kindness, hence respecting differences, inclusion, respecting diversity. Those values have to be there in everyone. Then they'll do a lambi race ka ghoda banenge wo log.
Bilkul.
And that's when a guy works in an organization for 2-3 years, anyway growth hoga. So that person has to stick out there, and he's got to show leadership. That will be the brand of Chitkara.
Right. I think that inclusivity
Very,
is very
very
important. And then coupled with compassion, kindness, knowledge, and this alignment of their kala, which is their art.
The domain ko kaise aesthetics? I mean,
yeah. Aesthetically shape kare. There's a lot in play of human, personality formation.
There is a lot, and I think that very soon you'll have to take sessions and have schools for the parents.
Right.
Because I blame everything that I did wrong with my son because of my parenting, the way, And I think I blame the parents the most in today's generation. The parents ko to bahut classes dene hain.
But, congratulations to you. He went to Trinity and now he's a pianist. So I think you did the right thing the way you brought him up. I must congratulate you.
Actually, the genes were my mother's.
Yeah.
Because which I got, I have no contribution to his taking up music.
Yes.
To show him the world, yes.
Yes.
But his contribution of music is definitely in his genes from my mother, gift from my mother.
Yes, she was your first guru.
Yes, yes.
And then your mentor, Pandit Jogji.
Yes.
And so on and so on. And I think gurus come at various stages of life.
In various forms.
Maybe it is for 10 minutes or 10 long years. But wonderful catching up. May I request you for a message to our Chitkara University students on camera, please?
Well, I've talked a lot today, right? Shall I give a musical message?
Sure.
That, you'll have fantastic families bringing you up. You'll have colleges like Chitkara to give you a holistic education. You'll have amazing companies hire you for your career. However, at times there would be people, there may not be anyone around you to hold your hand every time. So let's ensure that as much as we need the support system, we need our collaborators, we need our enablers. Without them, we can't function. But we may sometimes have to walk some journeys alone. Hence, because it's your journey. And Tagore said, when there is no one to walk with you, you've got to walk alone. Because when you've taken the journey, that there's not a reason why, there's but to do or die. When death, I mean not life, but death of your craft. Hence, Tagore said, Jodi tur dak shune keu na ashe tabe ekla chalo re pa sa 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 re sa 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 pa sa 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 re sa 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 পা সা 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 যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে তবে একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো একলা চলো রে যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে তবে একলা চলো রে
बहुत खूबसूरत बहुत खूबसूरत you know you sang Raghupati Raghav Rajaram. It was so touching the way you started your show and the way you've ended this conversation. It's our honor at the university to have such an exalted personality to our campus. Thank you so much.
My pleasure and
Thank
honor.
you so much.
Thank you so much.